The reason why this country is important to me and why I've always loved it since I first came here in the 1990s, and by the way, rather amusingly, my family knew nobody in America. I said to my father, because nobody had come to America before, and I got a small grant to write my first book, and I said to my father, do we know anyone in America? And he said, only the Trumps, which in retrospect is quite funny because Donald's mother grew up with my grandfather in a very remote Scottish island. And so when I first came to the States, I stayed with the Trumps.
Douglas Murray is a British writer and political commentator known for his conservative views. In his works, he often criticizes modern left-wing movements, particularly in America, for their obsession with ideas of racism, colonialism, and oppression. In the provided text, he discusses how left-wing ideology on US campuses is pushing for a radical reinterpretation of history, claiming that America is a colonialist and racist society. Murray argues that these accusations are exaggerated and unfair. He warns that Western society is in a polite holding pattern, where tolerance for the criticism of its cultural heritage will soon run out. In his view, if respect for Western history and its heroes isn't restored, a harsh reaction may follow, breaking this courtesy and leading to cultural conflicts. Murray sees this ideological divide as a serious danger for Western society, suggesting that once this politeness ends, the consequences will be severe, and Western countries may find themselves in the midst of a cultural war.
I often say that you can tell whether a country is important or not by whether or not anyone knows who the defense minister is. And, you know, in America it actually matters who the Minister of Defense is. But America, everything matters about this country and what you do. And, you know, I always think, if America's doing well, every other democracy is doing well. And the flip side is, if America is going in the wrong direction, you don't buy yourself any time by living in Malta. A majority of young British people polled the other day said that they believed that the foundations of Britain were racist. And you see the same thing in the left in America, and particularly in the young left. They have got this new religion. They think everything is about these things. You simply have to find racism, find colonialism, and so on. And why do I mention this? Because there's an interesting twist that the American left is doing. I don't think I've said this before, but I've been thinking about it a lot recently. What is it that the American left, particularly the campus left, are doing? They believe that America is a colonialist society. They believe that America is a white supremacist society. Now, all of this is rubbish. But they imagine this to be the case. There is no other reason for them to level these extreme allegations that are so flagrantly untrue.
What they are driving us to, and I feel it very, very strongly myself, is how dare you do this to our ancestors? How dare you do this to all of our heroes? And then the follow-on thought is this: if you have no respect for my ancestors, I see no reason why I should have respect for yours. If you have no respect for my past and my culture, I don't see why I should continue to say that I have respect for yours. If you have nothing good to say about me, why should I have anything good to say about you? And what I suggest is that in the West at the moment, we are in a potentially short holding pattern, a holding pattern based on politeness. Or, as Kenneth Clark, Lord Clark of Civilization, put it, that fundamental aspect of Western culture, courtesy. We are in a period of courtesy where we have been willing to say, okay, you can keep rampaging through the past of the West and assaulting my ancestors and insulting my predecessors and saying all of these negative things about my past, and I am pretending for the time being, or saying out of courtesy, that you can do this, and I will put up with it for a time. And I will even say, and there are these other ways of knowing and so on. But there is a moment there where that absolutely stops. And as I say at the end of the book, as you know, Jordan, I say there's a very clear place where you can do that. The courtesy stops at a certain point, and it stops when you say, you know what? This politeness seems not to be working for us. So let's go for the impolite things. And the impolite things that can be said are legion. And nobody should want to go there. But that's where we're being led.
What are you trying to accomplish with the book, Douglas, do you think, apart from clarifying your own thoughts?
Quite a number of things. One is to alert people to the scale of what is being attempted against Western countries. Another is to point to the unfairness of it, the simple unfairness of it, the unjustness of it. Another is to arm people with the, I think, reasonable and correct rebuttals to it, to remind people of the context of history and the context of the rest of the world, so that we get ourselves and our own past in a proper light, and get the rest of the world in a proper light.